For hundreds of years, we have mocked the man who fought windmills. But what if we are actually wrong? When something in the world seems funny, don't rush to laugh. There are things that at first glance cause a smile. For example, a man in rusty armor, riding an old nag with burning eyes, holding a spear and charging at windmills. A weirdo, you might say. Nonsense, reason will say. But is it really so? And why, 4 centuries later, does this wild image still disturb those who dare to stop and think? Not to laugh, but to ask. Not to wave it away, but to listen. Wait, don't rush to move on. There is something here. The Stoic is silent. Don Quixote speaks. Too much. There are philosophies that place silence above the word. Colder, more collected. Stoicism builds a reinforced concrete frame inside a person. Everything that is not from me does not concern me. We must accept what happens as given. Wise silence instead of a scream. Acceptance instead of struggle. But what if the world is not worth such silence? What if silence is a conspiracy with a reality that has long since become a caricature of itself? In this space, Don Quixote emerges. He does not keep silent. He speaks, a lot, passionately, with fire. He shouts when no one listens. He argues with what everyone else has long stopped caring about. He rushes into clashes that others turn away from. And it's not that he doesn't understand that these are windmills. He knows, but he has no other way to live. In this is his strength. In this is his defeat. Imagination is a dangerous thing for those who want to live by rules. It is feared because it is able to shake the foundations. It is difficult to impose a single path on a person with imagination. They will always have another one. Don Quixote does not invent an alternative reality. He refuses to accept the ready-made one. His words may seem senseless, but it is precisely they that can create new horizons. Sometimes words are invented, and changes are real. Reality does not require consent. What happens when a person stops putting up with it, does not accept, does not adapt, does not calm down? Don Quixote is such a case. He cannot agree with circumstances, even when they are objective. For him, objectivity is hostile, reality is unacceptable, and in this he irritates the most. The one who adapts becomes acceptable. They are loved. They are convenient. Don Quixote is not convenient. He does not seek common ground. He does not integrate. He cannot be embraced by philosophical calm. He gets in the way, he imposes his presence, and he does not believe in a common reality which for most has long been a compromise. Calm has a property of exhausting, not always quickly, but gradually like a slow wind that wears down stone. People who for years accept, adapt, live quietly, suddenly feel that nothing is left. No breaking point, no breakthrough, not even anger. Only silence. And it is at this moment that the figure of Don Quixote begins to frighten the most, because his cry reminds us how much silence eats away inside. Not everyone who is calm is free. The real struggle is always illogical. Logic cannot explain impulse. Calculation cannot give birth to passion. The one who decides to fight what has no face will be defeated. That is obvious. But something in this defeat weighs more than any victory. The battle with windmills is not about the result. It has no final goal. It is an act of protest, deprived of hope for change. A protest that does not demand a reward. A person raises a spear not to win. They raise it because otherwise they cannot live. And this is why Don Quixote goes beyond the comic. He turns into something bitter. His actions surprise not because they are senseless, but because in them there is felt some kind of troubling logic. Broken, but sincere. Dangerous, but alive. When a person says that the world cannot be changed, it is not always about experience. Often it is simply fatigue. Loss of faith is wrapped in packaging called life wisdom, but at its heart, only the desire not to feel pain. Don Quixote goes straight into this pain. He does not play the illusion of maturity, and therefore he looks like a weirdo, because pain in itself is not proof of stupidity. Sometimes it is proof that something in a person is still alive. Why we turn to this image again and again? The man who charges at windmills is not just insane. He is a symbol that inside us there is still something that does not want to put up, that refuses to live like everyone else, that prefers to lose an eternal war rather than win a game that no one cares about. Sometimes in this desire to lose with dignity, there is more humanity than in all victories won at the price of indifference. Sometimes defeated to survive, not physically, internally. If you remain with the winners, you can destroy yourself completely. Today, Don Quixote is conveniently hung on the wall, turned into a poster, into a background for a quote. But this too is a form of capitulation. If you make him only a symbol, you can stop listening to what he says. The aesthetics of struggle are convenient. They do not demand action. They decorate helplessness. But if you look long enough at the image of Don Quixote, he begins to speak. Not through words, through his gaze. And in this gaze there is neither style nor calm, only a challenge. Nothing disappears just like that. Ideas that at first glance seem wild sometimes linger in culture for a long time, more than calm ones, more than convenient ones. The image of Don Quixote haunts us not because we didn't understand him, but because we fear that we understood him too well. He makes us ask questions. Must we accept? Must we put up with it? Must we understand before acting? Stoicism says yes, but there are people who appear to say otherwise. They do not live long. They are rarely quoted, but we remember their deeds. Not everything absurd is funny. Sometimes we laugh not because something is funny, but because we are afraid to see ourselves in it. Don Quixote is a mirror placed before us without warning. He appears when everything is already stable, when it seems that there is no sense to change anything. And at that very moment, he raises his spear, not to win, not to inspire, but to stay alive. The one who fights windmills will always look strange. But the question is not that he sees differently. The question is that he sees it all. He cannot be convinced. He cannot be corrected. He does not want to agree with anyone. He fights because it is the only way not to surrender. The battle with windmills is not a mistake. It is a decision. For those who stayed till the end, maybe you won't agree. Maybe this will cause irritation. But something in this struggle still does not let you rest. And if at least one image from this story stays with you, it means you still have room for unrest. And that is already a sign that you are alive.